Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at Intel. It is time for another update. And in the case of this chart, we have been tracking this idea of a possible extension within the large wave tree. We have been tracking this idea of a 1, 2, where this would be the wave tree to the upside. We have been looking for possible extensions within this wave tree, especially as long as we were still holding the initial low within this structure, because it would have been perfectly proportional with what we had internally within this movement to the upside so far. Well, this has changed a bit on Friday because we have formed a lower low within this structure, which would technically still allow it to work out. I believe it is actually still quite possible for this structure to be extending directly higher within the yellow scenario. But given the proportions we start to notice within this pattern, I do have to start considering other possible interpretations. I do have to start considering even the possibility of a wave tree top being in. And even if this may not look perfect, it is possible. It is in fact in line with what we have seen as part of very strong extensions within the wave 5 in the semiconductor sector in the last period. So I could actually still track this as an impulse. I could have something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. This would be an extremely extended wave 5, but it's not a problem. It's still a perfectly acceptable scenario. It's still more than enough to have this as a wave 3 to the upside in green valid. But this would imply a significantly larger wave 4 correction. So in this green interpretation, I cannot consider that the wave 4 has a bottom in. No, this wave 2 has taken a couple of months to actually complete. Well, I could expect the same amount and more in the case of this wave 4 before I can expect to have a more substantial bottom in that specific scenario. And there are even other interpretations, some of them quite bullish actually, because I could still consider this to have been a wave 1 to the upside, and I could look for this to be an internal wave 2 correction. Right? I would be able to look for the wave 3 to still be in formation. That is still a possibility. But fortunately, the exact scenario doesn't need to be at focus at the moment, because we can go within a slightly smaller time frame to identify a better idea of what we can expect in the case of this chart. So, firstly, once more, to be clear, this wave 4 interpretation in yellow is still possible. I can still look for direct continuation to higher prices within the wave 5. It has fulfilled all of the expectations quite nicely. I could consider this to be a wave A down. I would then have to consider, however, that this would have been a triangle within the wave B, and then from this point on, I would have had the wave C form quite swiftly on Friday. Other interpretations are possible. I could consider this to be a WXY pattern, the main point being there is no scarcity of structures that would allow this wave 4 to have a bottom in. So I actually go into an even smaller time frame where today we've had a quite significant bounce. I can consider even the possibility of having a wave 1 in place. I do see it possible to track this as an initial 5 move to the upside and to look for an internal trade setup within this interpretation where I have the levels of support between $106.8 down to $101. We also have some structural support we can consider below the current levels, and we actually have plenty of confluence with the white support zone. Firstly, the 38.2% retracement in line with this previous swing low, right? We have actually formed a secondary higher low within this structure exactly at this level. Then we can actually zoom out. We notice even this low has formed here and this one as well. We have considerable structural support levels down to below the 61.8% retracement, with this being the last low, and at the 78.6% retracement. I can see that we have the 38.2% retracement for the larger wave 4 in yellow. That being something to consider. And even though it is technically possible, especially within such a distorted structure, to maybe break out directly, even without reaching the first level of structural support we have here around $109, due to the possibility of actually tracking this as a double 1-2-1-2 setup. Unfortunately, due to the market conditions we have suffered last week, we have a strongly present lack of clarity in the markets. Some stocks are actually rather clear, but others are actually struggling to provide a clear path forward, many of them presenting two very much capable options, one of which allows direct extensions to higher prices, and the other could imply a significantly larger correction. Fortunately, in the case of Intel, I cannot expect the larger green wave 4 to be a plausible outcome until this correction would have extended for a few additional weeks. So at this point, if we are to see a breakout, we can either consider this would have been an extension of the wave 3 in green, which can actually provide even a 2x itself, or possibly, as I was mentioning earlier, something even more bullish, potentially an extended wave 3 that would take us significantly higher than within any interpretations we would typically focus on. But for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.